They never see it coming. The day you stop chasing, the moment you stop asking how they feel, stop checking if they're okay, stop making yourself smaller just to keep them close. It's like a silent shift in the air. At first, they don't notice. They think your absence in their inbox, your delayed replies, your calm detachment is just a mood, something temporary. They assume you'll be back because you always come back. But this time, you don't. Not out of spite, not to make them jealous, not to prove a point. You stop because something in you finally understands. It's not your job to convince someone to value you. You stop because the energy you've been pouring into them is now being redirected into something far more important, yourself. That's the unseen transformation. The world around you still looks the same streets, same routines, same people. But inside, something fundamental is shifting. You're no longer desperate for their validation. You're no longer waiting for their attention like a thirsty plant hoping for a drop of rain. You've learned to water yourself, and they can feel it, even from a distance. Here's the thing most people don't understand. Attention is addictive, not just for you, but for them too. They get used to being the center of your world. They get used to your constant care, your availability, your emotional presence. When it's gone, there's an emptiness they didn't expect. At first, they might ignore it. Then they'll try to fill it with distractions. But nothing feels the same, because the way you cared for them wasn't ordinary. The transformation that makes them come back isn't about posting a highlight reel on social media or making them jealous with someone new. It's deeper. It's quieter. It's the way you carry yourself when you're no longer weighed down by the need to be chosen. It's the way your energy feels lighter, calmer, more grounded. You've stopped orbiting around them, and instead you've become the center of your own life. And slowly, they'll notice. Not because you told them to, but because the silence between you is no longer empty. It's full of your growth. And when they finally see the person you've become, that's when they'll start to wonder if they made the wrong choice. At first, their curiosity is subtle. A casual check on your social media, a friend asking how you've been. Maybe they even send a short, meaningless message just to see if you'll respond the way you used to. But when you don't, when you remain calm, polite, and completely unshaken, it unsettles them. Because this isn't the version of you they remember. They remember the person who would drop everything to make them feel better. The one who would over-explain, over-give, overcompensate just to keep the connection alive. That person is gone. And in their place is someone they can't quite figure out. Someone who moves with quiet confidence. Who seems to have found a peace that no one can disrupt. That's the power of the unseen transformation. It's not about showing them you've changed. It's about actually changing. It's not a performance. It's not manipulation. It's simply you outgrowing the parts of yourself that tolerated less than you deserved. And when you grow like that, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to pull anyone in, but because your energy is no longer leaking in every direction. People can feel when you've pulled your power back. They can sense the boundary between you and the world. Firm, yet effortless. It's the same boundary that makes those who took you for granted realize they no longer have the same access to you. That realization stings. It forces them to think about the role they played in losing someone who was once fully present in their life. And here's the irony. When you were chasing them, they felt safe taking you for granted. But the moment you stopped, the moment you chose yourself, they began to feel the very absence they once thought they wanted. They thought you'd always be there, but you weren't. And now, they're wondering how to get back in. It starts small. They linger longer in conversations. They laugh a little too loudly at things you say. as if trying to recapture the old rhythm. They ask questions they never used to ask. How you've been spending your time, who you've been seeing, what's been keeping you busy. But underneath their words is something unspoken. They can sense the gap between who you were with them and who you are now without them. It's in the way you answer without urgency, in the way your voice carries no trace of old longing, in the way your eyes seem to be looking past them, as if your world is now bigger than their approval. This unsettles them more than any argument or outburst ever could, because before they held the power. They were the one deciding how much or how little to give. But now that balance has shifted, and you didn't take it back with force. You simply stopped handing it over. The unseen transformation isn't loud. It doesn't require you to prove you're happier. It's the deep, quiet knowing that your happiness is no longer tied to their actions. And that's the thing that makes them come back. Not because they suddenly became the person you always hoped for, but because they're drawn to the self-assurance they never thought you'd find without them. And yet, here's the paradox. By the time they come back, by the time they finally see what you've become, you're not waiting for them anymore. You're not holding your breath, hoping they'll choose you. You're too busy living, creating, becoming. And that's when you understand. The real transformation wasn't about making them return. It was about making yourself so whole. You no longer care whether they do. And when you reach that place, something inside you shifts forever. You realize that the goal was never to make them come back. It was to grow into the version of yourself who no longer waits for anyone to validate your worth. This is where Stoicism lives, not in suppressing your feelings, but in mastering your responses. You stop being ruled by their absence. You stop attaching your peace to their presence. You understand that people will come and go, that attachments will rise and fade, but the one constant, the one anchor, must always be you. When they finally stand in front of you, speaking softer, leaning closer, trying to rebuild what they once abandoned, you won't feel the need to punish them or prove how much stronger you've become. You'll simply see them for who they are, and yourself for who you've become. And you'll know that you hold the choice. Sometimes you'll let them back in, but on terms that honor your growth. Other times, you'll walk away with a steady heart, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about your own peace to risk losing it again. And in that moment, you'll understand why the unseen transformation is so powerful, because it changes the outcome without you ever having to force it. They come back because they feel the shift, but you stay grounded because you no longer need them to. That's the quiet victory. That's the kind of strength they can't take away, and that's the transformation they'll never forget.